And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is actually sort of late for me to do my NFL picks. Which listen, if my Steelers go 12-4, I'll be extremely happy. Trust me. And the Steelers did start out with a win, so I was very pleased with that. As you come in, please hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. I would really greatly appreciate that. And thanks so much for joining me early on a Sunday. But here we are, and I will start with my very first NFL pick. Now, unfortunately, I did not put the pick in, but I am I'm a very honest man. So I did pick the Bengals to beat the Browns. I lost. I picked them to win 27-24. It was a close game, but it went the other way. So I will give myself a loss on that one. And even if I had won that game, I would not count it as part of my picks. I mean, that's I give myself a penalty when I don't do it in time. But the first game that we will start off with is the New York Giants will travel to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. That was an upset special. Well, a semi-upset anyway. Mitch Trubisky with a dart to win the game in Detroit against the Lions, while the Giants lost their first game against the Steelers. The Steelers defense did a number to Daniel Jones. I mean, he was basically running for his life most of the time. Bud Dupree had his way with the Giants defense, along with Cameron Hayward. Um, and the secondary did well also. And as a Steeler fan, I was actually very happy to see that. But now they travel to Chicago and take on Khalil Mack and the Bears. That's that was a huge win for the Bears starting out. I really thought the Bears, and I still have them going only 5-11. I just don't trust Trubisky. Now, unfortunately, the Giants' defense is not that great, so they could actually win this game. If I'm not mistaken, the Giants beat the Bears last season, so Chicago's going to be looking for a little bit of revenge. Daniel Jones actually, I like the way he's looked even in defeat. I mean, he's very poised, very polished. He is not the problem. Saquon Barkley has had problems. And now that's a more an offensive line thing than a Saquon Barkley thing, even though Tiki Barber is right about something. And whether you like him or not, listen, he's going to tell it like it is, or at least how he feels it is. Now, he is dead right about Saquon not being a good pass blocker. He's terrible in pass blocking. And that doesn't make any sense for a 6'3", 230-pound guy not to be able to pass protect. That is abysmal. That shows a lack of toughness. I'm sorry to say that, and I like Saquon Barkley, but let's call it like it is. I mean, that's a lack of toughness. I mean, Tony Dorsett was good pass coverage, and he was like a buck 80. Okay, there is no excuse to not be able to be good in pass coverage in your second, third year in the league. I understand the first year, sort of, it takes a little bit of time, the speed of the game, but Saquon Barkley is entrenched now. There is no excuse. He's got to do a better job. Now, I do believe he will do a better job because he is definitely a hardworking football player. So I'm not going to be like, oh, Saquon isn't this, that, and the third. He is very much a very proud, very humble, and hardworking human being, and I believe that he will get it patched up. Now, do I believe the Giants will win the game? Absolutely not. Khalil Mack and that defense is going to have a field day. Listen, I'm not saying that the Bears defense is as good as the Steelers as a whole, but Khalil Mack is better than anybody the Steelers have. I will say that, and I'm a Steeler fan. Khalil Mack is one of the best defensive linemen or linebackers in the game. He's more of a pass rusher than a linebacker at this juncture of his career. So I would have him more as an edge rusher than anything else. Listen, who if Bud Dupree gave him problems, what do you think Khalil Mack's going to do? I like the Chicago Bears 20-20 over the Giants in that game. The next game I have is the Philadelphia Eagles home opener after a stunning loss to the Washington football team. They have their home opener against the Rams, who beat the Cowboys. I knew the Rams would. I mean, let's face it, the Cowboys now, you want to say the Cowboys got gypped out of the call? Oh, well, get over it, Cowboy fans. I'm just saying, you guys still got away with that Detroit playoff win those years ago. So please, I don't want to hear it. I'm not very good. They obviously miss Malcolm Jenkins. I don't know if Javon Hargrave will play this week. He was out last week. They desperately need him. I know he hasn't even played it down for that team yet, but when you pay that substantial amount of money for him, especially at that D line, when the only other real good D lineman is Fletcher Cox, you need him. Let's face it. Now, the Rams look pretty decent. I mean, not great. Jared Goff is okay. The running game is mediocre, but their defense, listen, when you have Aaron Donald, you should be in every, and Jalen Ramsey, you should be in every game. I think Jalen Ramsey is a bit overrated for my taste. I mean, is he very good? Absolutely. I mean, he talks like he's Mel Blount. He's not. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the Eagle receivers were hurt. Again, I don't know if Jeffrey's going to play this week. The running game has to step up. They really do. I mean, they looked okay. They didn't look great. Wentz has to step up. If you are the franchise guy, and listen, the Eagles won that Super Bowl not because of you, it's because they rallied behind Nick Foles, okay? You still have to show that you are the guy. And the fact that we're still talking about him having to prove himself to be the guy, that's not a good look. Do I trust the Eagles? Not really. But I trust the Rams less. I do believe, even though there is no real home field advantage anymore because of COVID-19, I do believe the familiarity of being at home will help the Eagles today. I know that they cannot think about winning the NFC East and go 0-2. So I believe the Eagles will win this game 31-24 over the Rams. Next up, we have the aforementioned Dallas Cowboys opening up at home, against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons defense is as abysmal as always. They stink. Matty Ryan looked okay, but he's one of those guys. He puts up a lot of numbers, but listen. As much as I'm not as big a Matt Ryan fan as many others, I have to be fair to Matt Ryan. He's always playing catch up with this terrible defense. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to Julio. It's not fair to that offensive line. It is ridiculous how bad the Falcons defense is. And I can't believe that this clown still has a job. He should be out on his keister. If this was any other coach, he'd be gone. I'm sick of him. He's got to go. I mean, why does Mike Smith still have a job? On the other side of the spectrum, Dallas did get hosed. I mean, I'll say it. They got hosed. That was a terrible call. But still, listen, they didn't really deserve to win that game anyway. I do believe they will win today. I don't see them doing anything on defense, Atlanta. Ezekiel Elliott, Gallup. Listen, that whole team, if Dak Prescott doesn't throw for 300 yards, he needs to sit. Or that means Ezekiel Elliott ran for a $150 plus. That's the only way I'll excuse Prescott for not throwing for at least 300 plus yards. The only way. Now, the Atlanta offense will keep it close, but the Dallas offense, now I didn't have it as a high, a freewheeling, high speed shooting. There is, I'm talking about the actual score. I did not see that, but I will change it. I do believe Dallas will win 37-34. The Falcons defense is just abysmal. I just can't take it. It is really going to be a great. This is going to be a must-watch game because the Falcons are entertaining. They give up too many points, but they are entertaining. The Cowboys are the Cowboys. I just like the Cowboys a little bit better than the Falcons on defense. That's the only thing. Because I don't trust Dak Prescott. I don't trust the Cowboy defense, but I like the Cowboys defense a lot better than Atlanta's. Atlanta probably has the worst defense in all of football. Next up, Tampa Bay, and I tell you, Tom Brady, he didn't look too good last week, did he? I tell you what, if he's going to play like that, Tampa Bay could go 6-10, and then, I mean, Bruce Arians was an offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the day, and he won a Super Bowl ring with Big Ben. And he used to get in Big Ben's ear. But Big Ben actually, he's very close to Bruce Arians, even to this day, and he appreciated him. Tom Brady, let's face it, and I understand that he's got his 6 rings, and listen, he is who he is. I mean, we already know his place is secure, but he is a diva, and when he hears a little bit of noise, he gets a little rattled, okay? Tom Brady's one of those guys, he's not into the constructive criticism deal, especially at this stage of his career. So when Bruce Arians starts firing off at him, I tell you what, Brady's, he's seething right now. And if you heard any of that interview, oh, I'm the quarterback and he's the coach, he is not thrilled. Now, I do expect Brady to play better this week. Now, the Carolina Panthers defense actually played pretty decent last week. They aren't a great shakes, though. Tampa Bay's defense, listen, I knew they weren't going to keep up with that Saints offense. I mean, geez. The Panthers are a little bit worse on offense, though. And I like Bridgewater, but he doesn't have the weapons. Outside of McCaffrey, I mean, their receiving core is hit or miss. They let the Raiders come in there. Listen, I did choose the Raiders to win that game. I do believe Tampa Bay will win. I think it'll be closer than people think. I'm going Tampa Bay 24, Panthers 20 in this one. I tell you what, if the Bucks lose this game and Brady throws for like 220, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks again, boy, you think Bruce Arians, he's not going to hold back, let me tell you. I hope for Brady and the Buccaneers' sake that they don't play as bad as they did last week. I'm telling you. You could just forget it, Tampa Bay fans or Brady fans. The next game I have is the San Francisco 49ers traveling to MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets. There are 3 teams so far that have a chance, in my opinion, to have the number 1 pick in the draft. Atlanta's defense is so bad, you got to put them down there. I tell you what, Cincinnati could do it again. They have wasted Joe Burrow's efforts. Joe Burrow's looked very good, by the way. I have to be fair on that. The Jets, out of this season, they keep playing like this. He has not proven to be a very good NFL head coach. I don't care where he's been. I mean, he's been overrated as an offensive coordinator. And then you add to the fact that Le'Veon's out, the best receiver, Crowder's out. Sam Darnold has regressed, even though he wasn't really the problem last week, to be fair. San Francisco, I told you Jimmy G stinks. In fact, I don't know who's worse. I think Darnold's better than Jimmy G. I'll say that. Jimmy G has more around him. Now, Kittle's going to be out, and that's going to hurt because they already have a depleted wide receiver core with Samuel out, I don't think they're going to do it. The Jets are that bad. I trust the 49ers coach much more than the Jets coach. I trust the 49ers players more than the players. I'm going 49ers here 27-17 over the New York Jets. I do not trust Darnold or Gaze. Now, I don't trust Jimmy G either, but I do trust the running game. And I do trust the 49ers defensive line to get after Darnold. I do trust that. Next up, we go to Heinz Field, where the Pittsburgh Steelers will take on the Denver Broncos in their home opener. As a proud Steeler fan, I was very happy. Don't let the Chargers hat fool you, ladies and gentlemen. That's just to match up things. That's how we do it in New York City. I'm just saying. Steelers played pretty well. I'll give them a B on that. I mean, I have to take into consideration they are the Giants. They're not very good. But Ben Roethlisberger got the kinks out after the first quarter. He looked dreadful in the first quarter. You could tell he had a little bit of jitters, but he calmed down. Benny Snell rushed for over a buck. That was a pleasant surprise. The defense did what it was supposed to do. Denver's not that good, let me tell you. They are just not that good. Drew Lock, he's going to have a heck of a time up against this defense. But Dupree looked all world last week. Now, I understand the Giants' offensive line is not great, but nor is Denver's. Melvin Gordon looked okay. Their wide receiver core is decent. I mean, but I love the Steelers' defense. I love the way Big Ben is looking. That Denver secondary is not what it used to be. And I think Deontay Johnson, he had a bad game. I think he will regroup well. Juju Smith-Schuster had a wonderful game last week. Found the end zone twice. Chase Claypool, by the middle of this season, is going to be a huge factor for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, he did the reverse for the first down and iced the game for the Steelers. And he didn't really do that much, but I'm telling you, keep watching for this kid. He is going to be a huge factor for the Steelers before it's all said and done this season. I like the Steelers here 27-13 over the Broncos. And that's just, you know me, ladies and gentlemen, if I feel the Steelers won't win a game, I'll say it. I mean, I'm not jaded with rose-colored glasses. I am very, very objective when it comes to my NFL picks. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans, who beat the aforementioned Denver Broncos, having their home opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars won a game I didn't think they had any business winning, but they did pretty well. Tennessee did what they were supposed to do in Denver. Ryan Tannehill or Gardner Minshew? Boy, that's a heck. Well, it doesn't come down to that to me. It comes down to Derrick Henry against that Jaguar defense. That's an easy one for me. I'm going Derrick Henry. And I'm going to Titans defense. And I'm going to Titans 27-17 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it's pretty simple myself. Detroit goes into Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. That was a horrible loss by the Detroit Lions. Now, that could be a harbinger of things to come. Green Bay looked very sharp against Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's secondary is not what it used to be, but Aaron Rodgers is who we think he is, okay? He is still one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Stafford is a ring below. I do believe Detroit actually has more weapons than Green Bay, and they always play. Listen, these division rivals, they play each other tough, no question about it. And Stafford has gotten the best of Aaron Rodgers over the past 5. He's 4-1. Does that mean they're going to win today? Nah. I like Green Bay 34-27 over Detroit. Next up, Miami is at home up against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo looked very strong against the Jets, but then again, it's the Jets. Miami didn't look so great against New England. New England Patriots with Cam Newton at the helm. You can tell Miami can't stop the run. And listen, the Bills feature that same type of offense. Josh Allen runs the ball a lot, similar to Cam Newton. He can throw the ball down the field with those receivers. I like Singletary as a back. Bills' defense is stout. It's only going to be a matter of time until you hear those Tua chants. Well, excuse me, there are no chants unless they have put them into their speaker. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to be long for this job. We already know it. He's holding it in place. I like Buffalo 28-20 over the Miami Dolphins. The next up game is the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Obviously, there is no true home field advantage with no crowd noise. No real crowd noise, excuse me. They both play in the dome, so there goes that. The Vikings are top to bottom a better team, even though the Colts are a very good team. Listen, Phillip Rivers, he's on his last legs. Let me tell you. If you're going to lose to the Jaguars, please. Even though I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan, at this stage of their career, Kirk Cousins is better than Phillip Rivers. Yeah, I said it. And you know how I feel about Kirk Cousins. He's a C-plus quarterback at best. But he does have Dalvin Cook. And he does have Adam Thielen. And he's got Rudolph. And he's got a defense at his disposal. I like the Vikings 27-20 over the Indianapolis Colts. Next up, the worry. I like Hopkins. Bullied San Francisco. Garofalo got sacked a bunch of times. The running game was non-existent. Chase Young, I said, was the best player in the draft. He played like that last week. Chase Young. But I have to, he fits that offense like a glove. I know Cliff Kingsbury should give Kyler Murray Washington football team 24. This is the game where Dwayne Haskins, I believe, comes back to earth. I don't think he'll be that good against the Arizona Cardinal defense. Lamar Jackson goes up against Deshaun Watson. Talk about must-see TV there. It would have been better if DeAndre Hopkins was still there in Houston, but Bill O'Brien thought he was Bill Belichick, and he decides he's going to get rid of his best football player. He is an absolute clown. I believe that's going to cost them 7 points, and that's Houston's offense was. And you know what? They weren't even all that good. They were more. Those were padded stats at the end because Kansas City ran up in them. That was a disgrace how they did them. I have to give it to Baltimore. I believe that they will beat Houston in Houston, 38-37. I think this is the year where they are just fed up, sick and tired of Bill O'Brien. I believe that's going to happen. Next up, we have the aforementioned Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs just keep running along, and then they have a running back on top of that, the kid from LSU. He looked very, very good. And let's face it, you're going to look to stop Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce first. You're not going to be thinking about that running back. And plus, time Andy Reid goes away from the running game anyway. So you're almost hoping for that. But it doesn't matter. The Chargers just aren't good enough. Especially, listen, Tyrod Taylor is not going to match points with Pat Mahomes. He's not going to do it. They have to try and slow the game down with the Charger defense. I don't know if they are that good to do that in the secondary. They have Hayward and they have James, but Hayward leave Kansas City's going to win in a laugher 34-20 over the LA Chargers. Next up is the Sunday night game where the Patriots go into Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson. If you take Pat Mahomes out of the mix and you ask me who the best quarterback in football is, I would love to tell you that it's Lamar Jackson. It's not. Until I see him play better in the playoffs, it's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Deshaun Watson. It is Russell Wilson, and it has been for quite some time. I tell you what, Russell Wilson will do whatever it takes and does whatever it takes to win. He is a leader. He is a good thrower of the football. Right after that Super Bowl where they didn't hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. It's that simple. Seattle's defense was a little dinged up, but they were more than enough against Atlanta. I don't think New England has the horses to match up with Seattle on offense. Seattle's defense will be more than good enough. I mean, Newton's decent. I would love, in my opinion. I mean, he looked good running the football last week, but he didn't have to throw it all that much. I like Seattle 27-17 over New England in this game. And the final game, the Monday night game, will be the Las Vegas Raiders showing off their new digs against the New Orleans Saints. I did pick the Raiders to win last week, and you see what happened. They get after it, no question about it. But I like the Saints offense more. And I like the Saints front seven more also. I think they're going to go after it. I think they're going to hit. I think Carr's going to take at least 3 sacks this week. Picks for this week's 2 of 2020 in the NFL. This will be Uncle Claude signing out, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, share, and subscribe.